You could buy a pet lizard for $100,000 to get the rarest, most unobtainable pet on the planet. I'll show you what that $100,000 lizard is, along with 9 other crazy lizards with super abilities, starting off at just a singular dollar. I just found a cloning lizard being sold for $1 that doesn't live too far away from me. And oh nah, bro, look how bad that tank looks. I've got to make these lizards a way better home and keep them as our $1 pet. So I rushed to the seller's house, acquired the tank, and put it directly in my car. I just got the tank and it is not looking good. This tank is so bare, we're gonna have to fix it up and find the geckos that are inside. In order to get a closer look, I placed the tank onto my table, and that's when one of the tiny geckos had revealed themselves. Oh my goodness. Is that one of the geckos right there, bro? No way. So without wasting any time, I quickly removed the plastic plant and carefully captured one of the geckos quite easily. But I had to be very urgent about this because these geckos are very fast. However, it worked in my favor because I was able to secure the second gecko as well. Now it's time to transform this trashy enclosure, starting out by removing this nasty looking paper towel and then cleaning out the bottom of the tank. After I added in some of these drainage balls that will drain the water, I then added a window screen to separate them from the dirt mixture I decided to add in next. Since I was able to identify that this type of lizard was a morning gecko, I made sure to deck out the tank with loads of places for them to hide, because morning geckos can literally lay eggs and have babies all by themselves by making clones. Alright, and now that the tank is officially transformed, we can add our cloning geckos into the enclosure. So I cautiously added in both of the tiny $1 geckos to their new dream home, where hopefully now they can live a much better life. Before I even went and saw what a $100,000 lizard had to offer and what it even was, I first traveled to a place with some of the craziest pet lizards on the planet. Yes, sir. I just arrived at this insane exotic pet expo with tons of animals everywhere, but the ones I'm looking for in particular is obviously lizards, which will get more and more expensive as the video progresses. But the first lizard I found costed just $10 because I was able to find the infamous brown anole lizard, which if you've visited the state of Florida before, you've most definitely seen them because they're an insanely invasive species, which means there are loads of them in a place they aren't even supposed to be. However, even though these lizards are the most popular anole amongst the different species across the planet, this next lizard you can buy for just $50 you've definitely never even heard of before. This is a African fat-tailed gecko, and I know you might think it's just a leopard gecko with different patterning and coloration, but this lizard is actually a completely different type of gecko that lives in a completely different part of the world. However, like the leopard gecko, these fat-tailed geckos also store fat from the food they eat in their tails, which allows them to go much longer without food compared to other lizards you'll see later in the video. Like this next lizard that cost a whopping $150. That at first glance, I questioned if these pets were even lizards at all. Nah, bro. What are these, bro? They don't even have legs. Yo, that's crazy. Well, I came to find out that these snake-looking reptilians were actually lizards who evolved over time to not even need legs anymore, becoming a literal legless lizard. Yes, that's actually what they're called. They slither a bit differently than a typical snake does, and honestly, it kind of looks like if you took a blue-tongued skink and removed its legs, which, spoiler alert, you'll see later in this video. But I'm not gonna lie, the more that I look at these legless lizards, they honestly kind of creep me out. Like, bro, get this thing off my screen. Okay, let's move on to the next pet lizard, which comes in at $300. Yes, sir, you can get one of these red Argentine tegus for the price of just $300. Look at how cute they were, all coming up to my camera and stuff. I'm not even gonna lie, I almost wanted to take one home, but I decided against it because these tegus get incredibly large and need massive enclosures that cost a lot more than the lizard itself. But if you socialize them from a young age, they can actually become awesome pets that can live for over 20 years if kept properly. Anyways, while I was walking around the expo looking for some more crazy pets, I eventually came across one so eye-catching I couldn't not include it in the video. As you probably already know, this is a bearded dragon, but not just any bearded dragon, a $500 red bearded dragon. And at the table that was selling them, I even saw so many other bearded dragons that range in different sizes and color patterns, which I thought was kind of cool. If you decided to buy one of these lizards, you'd have a much rarer lizard than people who just buy the normal tan looking bearded dragon, which is pretty crazy if you ask me. Oh my goodness, bro, we're only getting closer to revealing what the $100,000 lizard is. But before that, the next lizard on this list goes for $1,000, the largest gecko on the planet, the Leachianus gecko. If you're some kind of reptile expert, you know that the Leachianus gecko actually comes from the same place as the popular crested gecko, which both live on a very small island called New Caledonia. The island is practically loaded with the most insane lizards in the world, like this $700 mossy Chihuahua gecko I found, or this $600 chameleon gecko. It's crazy to think that all these geckos live on the same island together in harmony. It'd be so cool to see how they interact with each other in the wild. Now, it's time to move on to the 8th expensive pet lizard of the video. This is a knobtail gecko, but not just any knobtail gecko, because this one has a color pattern so rare that when I asked the seller the price, he told me he'd want a whopping $1,500 for it. To put that into perspective, a normal knobtail gecko would typically sell for just a few $100. So this one is about 5 times the price. The crazy thing about this lizard is that they can literally wag their iconic knob tail just like a dog would. Oh my goodness, look at how cute he looks. The wildest part is this seller didn't just have one of these insane knobtail geckos, he actually had 2, which means that combined these geckos are worth $3,000, which is 2/3 of the price of this next pet lizard, which is a $2,000 ivory blue tongue skink. Typically, you can get one of these skinks for just about $400, but because this skink's body is almost completely white, it makes it way more expensive because of how rare the color pattern is. Now, before I go and show you what the $100,000 pet lizard is, I first just want to rapid fire some other cool animals I found, like this toad-headed agama, which is known for its very weird ability to do this with its head. These astonishing axolotls, which technically aren't really lizards, but they kind of look like them, and they're cute, so I added them in. This baby monitor lizard that I woke from his sleep, and even a ton of cool crested geckos, which came in loads of different colors. Okay, now the moment you've been waiting for. Yes, sir, it's time to move on to the final pet of the video, the $100,000 pet lizard. Oh my goodness, bro, is that the $100,000 Komodo dragon? No way, bro. That's massive. Yeah, I'm sure it comes as no surprise that the most expensive pet lizard is also the largest lizard and most dangerous. This is a Komodo dragon, and in the wild, they live in Indonesia, where they eat things like deer, goats, pigs, and even horses. These lizards are able to take down such massive animals, not only because of how big they are, but also because they possess acidic saliva in their mouths. From my understanding though, these lizards don't move much because in the 3 hours I was recording her, she literally was just sleeping the entire time. But during all that time, I also noticed a few key things in the enclosure, like this massive water stream that pretty much ranges the entire thing, tons of different rocks that came in a variety of sizes, a load of plants scattered around, a large swimming pool, and even a place for the zookeepers to go in and out of to meet the needs of the Komodo dragon. If you were ever hoping to keep one of these guys as a pet, the first thing you should know is that you'll need a legal zoo license and stuff of that sort, an absolutely gigantic enclosure, and even experience with this species in the past, which goes along with any of the other lizards you've seen in this video. Make sure you know their needs and can provide good homes for them no matter the initial cost. Hopefully you liked this video, and if you did, let me know what your dream pet lizard would be. Paxton Prince signing off.